Hey there, I'm Pete Townsend, and this is Money Never Sleeps. We look inside the minds of entrepreneurs and the crossover of startups, enterprise, finance, technology, and life as we know it. Before we dive into this week's episode of Money Never Sleeps, just a quick heads up that the ETH Dublin Hackathon 2023 is just ahead of us in Dublin on May 26th to 28th, 2023 at Dogpatch Labs in Dublin. ETH Dublin is the first Web3-focused hackathon conducted on the island of Ireland. And the idea is to create a space for the community to build and attract talent to the Web3 ecosystem. Check out the details on ethdublin.io. On the show this week, we've got Igor Khmel, co-founder and CEO of SaveChain, one of the 12 founding teams forming the Techstars Web3 Accelerator class of 2023. SaveChain is the borderless banking app. It's a self-custody stablecoin-only wallet with a banking interface for the global underbanked, with the option to open an FDIC-insured bank account for non-US residents. In short, it's MetaMask meets Revolut. Originally from the Ukraine, but now based in the US, Igor Khmel has been honing his craft for the past 17 years, including experience in the investment banking and corporate finance practices of Deloitte and McKinsey, then a Stanford MBA, then in venture and as an entrepreneur in residence with Sberbank, and he's now a third-time founder in fintech and crypto. In this episode, Igor and I slide down the arc of his life in finance and ventures that led to his inspiration for SaveChain, the societal factors driving the need to pair a USD bank account with a stablecoin wallet, how Igor expects the trajectory of the SaveChain customer experience will evolve, and the hurdles that SaveChain will need to clear to scale globally. All right here on Money Never Sleeps. Igor, how's it going?
It's good. Sunny day in California.
Yeah, lucky you. And a couple of weeks ago, you were not in California. You were over here in Dublin, weren't you?
Yeah. There was like a place called Techstars Web3. We're participating right now in Techstars Web3.
And then you left for a little while, and then you came back, and you came to my birthday party. So thank you for coming to my birthday party. You were one of two Techstars founders representing at the Lemon and Duke that night. So shout out to Kurt Pittman as well. But we also had a bunch of mentors there. So Kira O'Grady was there. Jesus Inoma was there. Mm-hmm. Brian Elders, Alejandro Gutierrez, Martin Cass. It was awesome to have them all with us. Shout out to all those guys. It was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. And speaking of birthdays, today, as we're recording this tonight at 10 o'clock Irish time, 2 p.m. in the wonderful state of California, it is Bono's birthday from the band U2. So I just, for some reason, remember random birthdays. Bono, happy birthday. Big 6'3" he is. So anyway, listen, before we dig into SaveChain, you've had a really interesting path to get you here. Okay, so you move from life as a consultant to a VC scout to corporate innovation, entrepreneur in residence, ventures, to life as a startup founder, now on your third round, FinDelivery, BankX, now SaveChain. To some, it might seem like you jumped around a lot, but I'm kind of clearly seeing this arc towards a vision. Do you think it's been a clear vision for you so far, or has it been just a nested set of experiences where the next thing that you go after only really becomes clear where you're about to move on from the current thing?
So yeah, definitely there is a plan there. So my life was split like by Stanford. Before Stanford, I wanted to work in finance. And after Stanford, I wanted to build finance. And in Stanford, there is the motto, it's called change lives, change organization, change the world. And basically, I get inspired by building something which can be used by industries, by like many people, and will influence on the life of many people. And in banking, all my previous experience were about to do open banking. So to make, first I was head of innovation lab in Sberbank. I was responsible for open ecosystem and acquiring companies and integrating external technologies with the bank and make bank more personal, more alive, more smart. And then I left and built FinDelivery. And FinDelivery, it's bank agent network, like making bank come to the people that is way far from the branches, where there are no branches and maybe branches are not needed. So then there was BankX, which is asset-backed security tokenization protocol, which is complete crypto story for make security tokens and making assets basically fungible, and helping people like borrow money against their real estate or against just their like piece of painting that is on the wall. So potentially can influence many people. And SaveChain was continuation of that. It's helping like people to get a retail account that will work like a bank, but will be more flexible and global. So this is like the whole thing called like bank as a service or open banking. This is what I'm doing.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's good that the whole 2017, 2018 BankX experience, right? Of,
Yeah.
all right, lesson learned, institutional too early for blockchain, right? That now let's kind of bring this down to the consumer level, right? Which is where all of this digital adoption, this crypto adoption started. And, it just feels like, so I am seeing that arc a bit more clear now.
Yeah, exactly. So in 2017, I made a bet that I built a company around idea that is going to be a regulation for security token, and there will be adoption on enterprise on financial world of tokens, security tokens as a new asset class, and will be simplified rules for issuing these tokens, for trading these tokens, and new market will appear. So this didn't happen as for now. So this market didn't pick up because regulator just push it back. I hope this will happen like in some time in the future.
It will. No, I see it will. It definitely will. It's just that, these things are, and I went through that whole process as well, Igor. Mm-hmm. And, the enterprise blockchain story is one that is predicated on massive change management projects, technology change management projects that big enterprises have to undertake. And they have to undertake that together if they're collaborating with their bank competitors out there. And there's just way too much political capital at the top of these big financial institutions right now to be able to undertake these massive, huge change projects with other banking outfits, right? But we had to go through that the first time to learn all that. All of this made so much sense to do. And I think now we're at a stage where there's a bunch of us out there who are thinking a couple years ahead of the game in terms of the adoption of digital assets. And I think this is where, where you've landed now with SaveChain.
Yeah, so the best from even before crypto, from my experience of like how the newcomers like disrupt banking. So they first start with the consumer model. So because the banks, nobody want to be like first player there. So the best way to kind of to build something like standard in the industry, you need to first to do like consumer play, consumer story. And then others see, they want to just have the same. And then you're deciding whether you want to keep this consumer story only for you, or you want to become as a service and make everybody like basically plug into you on this consumer story. So this is pretty much what's happening at SaveChain. And the vision was to build it basically bank without bank account and make like a new type of financial institution. And that's going to solve the problem that was recently appeared with starting from FTX when the crypto funds were misplaced, and ending with like the current problems with the regional banks in the US. So there was recently a problem with Silicon Valley Bank, Signature, First Republica, and then the full list of the banks that's in trouble right now because of the interest rate hike. It's 700 regional banks, 700 banks in the US that potentially can go bankrupt. So, and the people are afraid. People are afraid, and some corporations, they can lose money, and they already implement the strategies for how they can split funds to many banks to cover with 250K per account insurance. I never expected this like happen in the US. I saw this something like that in Ukraine. I never expected that I see like something like that in the US, but it's reality. And
I know. I mean, it's happened before. It'll happen again. Like there's this podcast called On the Brink, and their opening kind of theme music and announcer for that, it refers to something that happened, and it's like a CNBC announcer or something, talking about the government start to print all this money, and all of a sudden people get a little nervous. Yeah. And out of this worry comes something called Bitcoin. And that was something that was recorded back in 2008. And now we're going through this like regional bank crisis. And it's like all these people that are concerned about their money in regional banks. And out of this worry comes a non-custodial wallet, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the people initially we wanted to build this product for emerging markets only. So for the people who like struggling to get access to US dollar, to like modern banking, Western banking accounts, Western banking products. But right now, with this situation, we see a lot of also interest from US and from developed markets as well, because the people want to make sure that the funds that they have, it's not just bank funds. It's the bank is only like service institution, but they have full control of these funds. And so this how this is the
Okay.
model of non-custodial wallet. Yeah.
On that note, let's kind of take that from the top, right? That you've talked about SaveChain as being MetaMask meets Revolut, right? But just to kind of lay this all out for folks, can you tell me what is SaveChain and how is it going to work?
Yeah. So SaveChain is a neobanking application. So what does it mean? So it's like you're downloading the application and you open account, and this account is for at this stage only for dollars. So it's basically one currency account, dollar. The thing is that for this account, you will be able to issue card. You'll be able to do like some traditional stuff, like send money to your friend with email. You'll be able in the future basically make some interest on this account, like 5, maybe 8% interest rate. What's special with this account, that this account is not in the bank or any institution, which is like used to be all the previous generation of neobanks, including Revolut, which is my classmate, by the way, founded. So all of them, they rely on existing banking rails for these neobanks. So their product was user experience. They try to simplify, they try to increase user experience, but under the hood there was all the same like bank rails, like Swift and traditional. In our case, under the hood, there is not a banking rails. There is a blockchain. There is the most reliable and scalable technologies that is basically started and were tested for the last 5 years. So we are taking this, in this case right now we're working on Polygon, but we're open and make tests with other chains. So this is the chains that have the highest SLA, service level agreement, so they do not go down. And they don't have history of hacking or to be hacked or to be losing funds. So we're going with that, and also we're going with the most reliable stable coins, which is already on the market for a while, dollar stable coins, which is USDC and USDT. So USDC even stayed when there was recent bank meltdown, and right now it's basically two the most stable coins. So we're making this bank that is pretty much looks like for user like a Revolut or PayPal, but inside it has wallet like MetaMask. And this means the user in charge and the user control fully their funds, but their user experience is like banking, since for instance, what's different between the wallet and the bank? You can lose your application, the bank can still recover account. If you lost your private key or a wallet and you forgot your private key, you can lose the funds. It's one of the main problems with the crypto wallets. So we implement a technology called keyless recovery and Shamir shared secret, MPC, to enable recovery of the key. So it means for you as a user, you have account, you have this application, which is like a shell application. And then you have separate password that only you know. We don't know this password, where there is your recovery key at Amazon. And basically you install the application and then you recover your wallet within this application and you got your funds. So this makes keyless recovery. And second thing is a gas fees. So we don't want users to deal with gas fees and be aware about that it's complicated technologies that's under the hood. So we take care about the gas fees and top up wallets automatically for the next 5 transactions by gas fee, which is Matic in this case. So for users, it's just smooth, free experience as they would be like a neobank, but it's on chain and it's fully controlled by user.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, listen, let me give you an example and then you tell me how it's going to work on SaveChain. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I just received $1,000 or 1,000 in USDC, which is the USD stablecoin, which is issued by Circle, as we talked about. And that was received into my MetaMask wallet, okay, which is a non-custodial wallet. And I wanted to actually use that to pay some bills in fiat currency, in traditional currency. So what did I do? I sent that using a wallet address to a custodial wallet. that has a fiat off ramp or a traditional currency off ramp. So I sent it to my custodial wallet. I then converted and sold the USDC, and I converted that to euro. And then I moved the euro to my neobank account, which is completely different. So 1, 2, 3, 4 hops.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me how I'm going to do this on SaveChain. I receive 1,000 USDC, right?
Yeah,
That's the first step.
Yeah, so receiving, in our case, you will provide the address and SaveChain address, which is also non-custodial wallet, to your sender. You will receive this 1,000 USDC to your USDC address on SaveChain. And after that, you pretty much don't need to leave SaveChain. So you'll be able to off-ramp them in real time to the card. You will be able most likely to pay either by this card or directly these bills that you need to pay. So the plan is to develop the infrastructure around this wallet in the same way as it basically exists in your neobank, where you're transferring these funds in order to pay these bills. So it's one thing. Yeah.
I got it. Now, the societal factors for me, having done this transaction with these multiple different types of wallets and actually what is going to end up being 2 banks, is just down to the fact that this is kind of this is my financial life, right? But there are societal factors all over the world that are driving the need for this. What are some of those societal factors, and what are the demographics where these things happening, where you see the most probably volume driven use cases for SaveChain in the next year or two?
Yeah, we got right now wait list from 65 countries, and we are starting from Argentina right now. Why? Because hyperinflation. So inflation in Argentina is more than 100%, and there was just last week the day when it was 8% currency devaluation just in one day.
Wow.
So it's not controlled, and you can open deposit like 30 days deposit in Argentina for like 30% annual rate. So it's going crazy, and the people pretty much they live in dollar economy there. Yeah, so they cannot really rely on the currency. They try to change it to dollar as soon as possible, as soon as they get it. So countries like that, this is our core markets. So Argentina, it's 100%. Venezuela, 150% inflation. In Nigeria, they have like a currency crisis. As well as in Argentina, they have 2 exchange rates. So the presence of 2 exchange rates, this is a sign that this is our market, because there is like official exchange rates and there is like a real exchange rate. So official exchange rate like in Argentina versus like a street exchange rates, 2 times difference. And street exchange rate is, they call it blue dollar rate. So it's 2 times higher. So those countries, they are definitely our markets. And then there is a special situation in Brazil where also there is a taxation of capital withdrawal. And if you go with Brazilian cards to US, like for shopping, you pay on top of all your purchases and US taxes, you pay like almost 7% to Brazil taxes for capital withdrawal from Brazil. If you send money from Brazil to US, it's 1.2% tax. So for SWIFT, if you buy stable coins in Brazil, it's 0.3% tax. It's 20 times cheaper than if you just go and shopping with the card in the US. So all these examples, this is where stable coins and make sense.
Yeah. I'm thinking of this pitch deck exercise that we went through yesterday.
Yeah.
Of when you get to your team slide, that you need to talk about what we did, what we know, what we learned, what experience we have. And as you're walking me through these inflation rates and these taxation rates and these transaction fees in these different markets, I'm thinking, you know your stuff.
Yeah, I met these people. I know this from the first hands, from the people who agree.
Yeah. When everything is operating in symmetry in between the non-custodial stablecoin wallet, or let's just call it a stablecoin wallet, and the FDIC insured US bank account, which one of those do you think, based upon your view of the world right now, is going to get more of the volume and more of the usage?
Yeah. So we have a wallet as our core, as the first part of the product. This is pretty much our minimum commercial product here right now, the wallet. And in addition to the wallet, we are offering for residents of 35 countries a US bank account. So we are doing this for our bank as a service partner called Synapse in San Francisco. So I believe like the trajectory, how it's going to be growing, it will be like similar to PayPal. PayPal, when they started, they were like known for as a way to pay at eBay. So nobody like really considered PayPal as like a way to keep their money, save money, to do anything else. They just did go and simply pay on eBay.
Yeah.
So in this case, like also many people like at the beginning consider us and will consider as like way to cheaply. We're gonna basically provide free remittances up to $1,000 from with zero fees and money to their countries, and the way how they can open US bank account probably like outside of their countries for their families. But down the road, we want to build the behavior as soon as there will be more and more trust and they see like some other products that we're going to release. We want to build this behavior. So not just use us as a vehicle, but keep funds with us and start to use us as a real like non-custodial financial institution. So
Gotcha.
keep funds in the system and don't leave.
Yeah. And there's something in there that I was thinking about between serving the unbanked and serving the underbanked, right? Unbanked versus underbanked. Unbanked to me is that you operate fully with cash, and that's just how you live your financial life. Underbanked means, well, you may have a bank account, but you can't do a whole heck of a lot with it. So what I hear you saying is that by offering the ability to have more flexible payment options, by having the ability to actually hold and save your wealth with SaveChain at these interesting interest rates, that you do actually provide more banking to those that are underbanked, right? And that's the basic side of it.
Exactly. And for the banked versus underbanked, like this is why sometimes for me it's difficult to explain the people that is like in the US that is fully American and do not travel too much and live here, because they don't see this problem. For them it's like everything goes smooth, everything they click, SSN, ID, walked, fine. I mean, I'm in the US already like altogether 6 years, but if I'm underbanked, yes, I'm underbanked in the US. This is just a simple example. And then like, if I try to open for my company bank accounts here, it took me like 4 or 5 banks before I found the bank that agreed to open bank accounts for me in the US. So it's like with having all the documents. So it's not easy, and I'm fully documented, like in the like well documents in the US, and there are many people that don't have a document that I have, and they're the bad situation. So we are building the service for the people who are underbanked with in terms of like access to like modern Western finance, modern US products. Yeah, and it doesn't matter. They live in the US as diaspora, or they live for like anywhere in the world, but still, basically, the finance should be global. The problem with custodial institution and the banks, but all of them locally governed, they are not global. And to break that, as a payment company, you have more chances to be global because you take cards and it's more like already global protocol. So to build a real global neobank, you need to give away of the custody. You need to give away like all something that's regulated only locally, which is like custodial custody. As soon as we are basically don't have this element, then we have much higher chances to be like global financial institution.
Could you at some stage, almost a money market sweep, is that you could overnight convert the USD into USDC and then place that out into DeFi at attractive overnight rates?
Yeah. There is a Circle, which is the issuer, market maker of USDC. They have these products.
Okay.
They have staking overnight. Yeah, the problem with the rate is there, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 0.5% per year. So it's pretty much.
It's not that much.
Yeah, it's not why you would rather be like in stable coins. But there is like other products. There is like so right now the treasury bills, they give you more interest than DeFi. Yeah, so we are looking for like tokenized treasury bills to give people access to like the to something. You know, the Apple introduced recently there's famous saving account backed by Goldman Sachs for 4.17%, I believe, which is like already like meaningful. And those kind of accounts, this is exactly what we want to do as well, but we want this to be like in the token form and global and more flexible. So we are looking right now for this partner, like some big name where we can basically take the tokenized products for our customers.
Okay. Should we call Goldman Sachs?
We should, yeah. Goldman Sachs.
Let's get them on the horn. Absolutely. But like that, right? That you've got so many challenges being thrown at you. And I know that, your US market strategy, like you said, there's lots of interest in this in the US because of what's happening with the regional banks. But that is I think that's a story that is still being written, right? But you've got this regulation by enforcement going on with the SEC, and anything that is crypto, and stablecoins obviously are cryptographically secured assets. I'll just call them that. You've got, your go-to-market strategies in geographies with the concentration of underbanked individuals, and you don't live in Argentina or Nigeria, you'll be relying on partners there, right? You've got, working with fintech partners to integrate your tech. All of these, maybe it's one of those things, maybe it's something else, but, which of those challenges do you think you have the biggest handle on? And, which ones do you think are just going to be a tough call?
Yeah, initially I thought that the most difficult will be like to go all those markets where I'm not from, and this is the comment that I'm received like from many VCs in the US. They call it. We call them. We talked to them and said, we go to Mexico, we go to like Argentina or Nigeria. They said, oh, guys, you don't have this DNA in your team. DNA, this means you don't have like a Mexican, Argentinian, Nigerian guy in your team. And then I find out when I start to talk to those people that they're not exactly right. They're wrong, because when I talk to like the people in Argentina, and they said, and we're discussing like US, and they said, oh yeah, you're like, how long you do US? They asked me. I said, like 6 years. Oh, you're still like pretty much like Ukrainian. And that is like in the US, everything according to the books, and like they try to do like everything like to the books, like rules. And here, like it's more like more experience based and all that, and practices, and this is exactly pretty much many of these countries, they're very similar to Ukraine, frankly speaking. And I thought this would be like a big cultural gap now, like that's why many of my friends, like they live in all these countries making businesses there, because the culture, their business culture is very similar. It's much easier for me to understand this culture than like for Americans. So this was like, so that's why this kind of DNA gap was not a gap. So it's completely manageable. Yeah, the main challenge right now, it's obviously like US regulation, and we are comfortable, understand how this works, but it still requires a lot of like experience and experienced people around to build momentum and to build like history. So we don't want to be completely dependent on that. So we consider even like to keep fintech business in the US, but keep like a completely DeFi business outside of US. So maybe in some moment this will be like two different companies. But yeah, it should be done. And right now we rely on our partnerships. So we got partnerships recently, like due to thanks to you, Pete, and Techstars. We got with Stripe, and Stripe is right now we're in their sandbox to do on ramping and off ramping. So basically to enable our users from all the 50 states of the US, and each state has different regulation, requires separate license, which is like a couple years of work. So all this is going to be done with Stripe. Yeah, Stripe will take it there because they already have these licenses.
Yeah.
So which is a big deal. Yeah, because otherwise it's a big barrier to enter US market.
Yeah, and there's something I'm working on that is related to the whole money services business in the US, that actually the European translation of that is called a VASP, a virtual asset service provider.
Yeah.
Because the MSB, framework was just pre-crypto, and it was there. And then it was like, well, that looks like the right thing to do for crypto, for those businesses that are moving into and out of crypto and into and out of fiat. And then lo and behold, we end up with a specific regime in Europe that is just dedicated to crypto around those types of movements. So I think, being able to partner with people like Stripe and others to be able to help you do this is a good thing. I may have already pointed to this, but I think there's probably more to this story of Igor. And on that note, one of the things that I noticed in preparing for this, Igor, is that on your LinkedIn profile, you are Igor Gary Khmel. And I've been calling you Igor the whole time since day one. And then I'm like,
right, yeah.
Do like Americans just call him Gary? Where'd that come from?
Some Americans do. So it's like Gary it's like a nickname. So when the people come to US, like Chinese are famous for that. They're taking like American names.
Yeah.
And like Ukrainians, not really, but some do. There is like famous Igor, which is Gary here, Gary Vimerchuk. He's famous in the NFT community. Yeah, he's
Gary
also,
Vaynerchuk.
yeah, he's also Igor. Yeah, he's all the
I
same.
didn't know that. I didn't know that.
He's Ukrainian and also Igor. Yeah.
Okay. He was like
yeah,
he's like a 16-year-old entrepreneur way back in the day with wine.com before VaynerMedia and all that stuff came along. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there is like some best practices, so some examples. I'm in some moment I wanted to use Gary, and then like I understand that just like it's more about, so it looks like Igor is more authentic, so I want to probably stay with Igor right now.
Okay.
I have
all
like
right. No, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But tell me, there's a, from your experience, there's got to be this earned secret, right? This thing that you know and that you believe to be true that others may not be aware of or others believe to be false. Can you point to something that you think is your earned secret that makes a difference?
Yeah, there is number. Yeah, probably the main secret, like in terms of business. So the people, if they want to save money, if they want to like really take care about their money, they not just rely on regulator. Yeah, so they need to also rely on technology. And so I'm offering them this is like choice. Yeah, so which is, and we are trying to basically improve this value proposition by adding insurance for these non-custodial wallets, which is makes more sense. You're covered by both technology and by like institutional insurance. This is like the best of the world. So this is one of the secret. In terms of like behavioral, I moved this winter to South Tahoe, so I start to exercise like, and in order to like have more energy for the business. So, and I'm doing snowboarder here, and I learned it's all about momentum. And this momentum could be, even if this momentum is negative at the moment, but you have the speed, which is like in snowboard. This means you can change and you can go up, and it's very important to move. Yeah, so even if you are maybe moving not exactly where you need to move, but you have the momentum, and with a small effort, you can move to the right direction and get your goal. So this is my philosophy.
Keep moving.
Keep moving. Yeah.
Keep moving. No, you get that. Definitely get that through snowboarding.
I was in one in some moment, like we raised 70,000 Ether, and my token with fully diluted market cap was like $1 billion. So it was like for 2 weeks. Yeah. And then everything crashed, and I was depressed like for a couple of years that I lost like billionaire and like all that. Yeah. And then I understand this is just basically it's bad idea to stop. Yeah. So you just keep moving, and since you was at that height, it's definitely you can come back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the lowest moment of my own career, it's probably about 4 years ago, and everything just crashed and stopped, but I still had a bunch of things that were yelling at me to do things.
Yeah.
And I just let it all drop to the floor, and I only picked up those things that were really screaming at me the loudest, and I ran with those things, and I just kept running. Right. And sometimes you just have to do that. What would be one thing that people wouldn't expect to know about you, Mr. Snowboarder?
Wouldn't expect about me? Maybe that I have a journalist degree. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Where'd that come from? How'd you do that?
Yeah, my mother was like in journalism and like literature. So she was said that I need to. And I like it at the time. And by the way, without Buterin as journalist as well, like it's his first profession, like he was running. So it's good for public speaking and good for like soft skill development. So
definitely.
I did this degree in parallel with my physics degree. So what's happened, I was like studied physics and then like go to the train, and 50 minutes I had like night classes from 6 to 9 p.m. like for journalists. So it's like develop both sides of my mind.
Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. I did my stint with writing in 2006, 2005, 2006. When I was traveling around the world with my fiance at the time, between leaving Bermuda and settling here in Ireland. And I wrote a blog, and my mom was reading it every day, and she was pointing out all the grammatical errors I was making. And that's how I learned to write better, right? Was just when you've got someone looking over your shoulder. And so, your mom was a journalist and my mom was a teacher. So that's something that's common ground for us
Yeah,
in terms of
teacher. Yeah,
learning how to write properly.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And what's the best way for people to get in touch with you, Igor?
Yeah, the best way is it depends. If crypto people, it's Telegram, it's Bankster. So
Yeah.
Bankster. Yeah, email igor@SaveChain.com. Yeah,
Cool.
and LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, I'm kind of like I have like my big LinkedIn 15,000 followers, so definitely will find me. Everybody that
definitely.
is in the industry, like it's either my first or second circle. Everybody. If you're not in my second circle, you're not in the industry. So
I know, it's amazing how that works. Isn't it scary? It's scary. You can get in touch with whoever you want, just 1 degree of separation. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, listen, Igor, thank you so much.
Thank you,
awesome to have you on the show, and looking forward to seeing you next week in London.
See you a bit.
That does it for this week, folks. Thanks to Igor for opening up his mind to help us figure out why he does what he does. And you can learn more about Igor and SaveChain in the show notes on our website, moneyneversleeps.ie. If you like what you heard, please leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as that helps others to find the show. Thanks to Conan Brophy from Create Sound for mixing and editing this episode. Conan is an excellent media man to get in touch with when you're thinking about launching your own podcast. As for me, I'm an early stage startup investor focused on where fintech meets crypto and crypto meets Web3, and I lead the Techstars Web3 Accelerator. There are plenty of links in the show notes on moneyneversleeps.ie on how to get in touch, so don't hesitate to reach out. Finally, till next time, thanks for listening. See ya!